Save today at Room to Room's President's Day sale. 55% off furniture and mattresses, 20% off accessories,
and 24-month special financing.
The time to act is now.
Room to Room Tupelo, where we know there's no place like your home.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Well, the soggy conditions are clearing on out and we're making way for a drier forecast here in North Mississippi as we get into our Wednesday. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor here for the latest on your forecast, and there is a lot to talk about. I know I say that every night, but there is always a weather story, and we do have several of those getting into the forecast tonight. Let's go ahead and track that here in the Room to Room Weather Center. Simply put, we're drying up tonight. Much drier conditions moving in as high pressure settles into North Mississippi, and that's going to allow the dry conditions to build in, but unfortunately the cold air as well. Fog does continue for some. That dense fog advisory has been extended for a few counties here in North Mississippi, tracking who those folks are in just a moment. And the golden headline on every Tuesday 10 o'clock broadcast is where we headed this Friday night. We'll take a look at that here actually, we can take a look at it right now. It doesn't take but a moment. Let's go ahead and swap this over to the computer, and you guys will see the latest on the poll. And we are headed to Ingomar versus West Lowndes. Whopping 69% there. Columbus versus Pontotoc, 29%. So a valiant effort. And a Hernando versus Tupelo. I mean, Golden Wave got to show out a little bit more than that. 2% on the votes. I know there's more Golden Wave fans out there. Either way, it's going to be a fun night out there, Ingomar versus West Lowndes. We're going to work to get those polls up heading into Wednesday. And of course, if you do have any pictures of the student section of the Spirit Squads, we want to get those up as we get into the Wednesday, as we get going into our Wednesday, and of course, get those votes going. Because as you guys know, here on Mississippi Live Weather, we have multiple battles, and that's the Spirit Squad, that's the fan section, and of course, the game itself. As we take a look at the first 12, talking about a battle, that's the forecast right now in North Mississippi as moisture tries to remain in the forecast, but as that frontal system pushes out towards the east, takes all these rain chances with it, but that cloud cover does unfortunately linger in our forecast. We'll be there by 5 a.m., all the way to 8 a.m., all the way up until those lunchtime hours, and that's going to act as a blanket in our sky. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, that blanket traps the heat that's here at the surface, doesn't allow that to escape, so that's why our mornings does start out with some milder temperatures. But by the time we get towards the afternoon, with that blanket still overhead, doesn't allow anything to come into that blanket. And so we're going to see pretty much uniform temperatures all throughout the day. The only change in the forecast is going to be with those winds, and even an 8-mile-an-hour gust, a 9-mile-an-hour gust, that's going to drop those wind chill values into the 20s, unfortunately. So it's going to feel cold. It's going to feel much colder than what those temperatures are actually reading. But if you prepare right now and get those layers ready, trust me, you'll be glad you did. As we look at those dense fog advisories still in place for folks in Sunflower County, Bolivar County, and Washington County for the Tuesday night plans. That continues into the midnight hour as well. And if you don't believe me looking at this, well, let's go ahead and take a look out there in the Cleveland area. And yeah, that's worthy of a dense fog advisory for sure. So this is in place until midnight tonight, but that wind that you're seeing shake around that camera, that's helping drive out that moisture. And so that 9-mile-an-hour breeze out of the north will help move this fog out of the area, move that moisture away. And that's why these are ending at midnight. So heading into your morning commute, shouldn't be dealing with any fog at that point, just some clouds, but those will be way high up in the sky, not here at the surface. Now, as we take a look out there in Aberdeen, some foggy conditions out there as well, but 52 degrees paired with no wind. That's enough to get some of that moisture to settle in at the surface, and we're getting exactly that in Monroe County. So not going to be shocked at all if we do get some patchy fog to develop in areas where there's not a windy forecast. As we take a look out there in Fulton, you can see the saturated roadways where those rain showers work their way on through, but no fog. That's a positive with this forecast, and as long as those winds stay at about 8 miles an hour, I don't expect any fog in that forecast. Just going to dry up those roadways and make for a better forecast heading into our Wednesday. The last of those showers working their way out of North Mississippi, but it has been a soggy day all day long. I mean, on this, I'm not even going to take it 6 hours. Let's take it all the way back 12 hours to showcase this in a little bit more detail, because you can see just how widespread these were. Did I click the wrong thing again? No, I did not. You can see how widespread these got by the early afternoon, but as that frontal boundary has pushed off towards the east, taking a lot of this moisture with it, and that's where we're just basically dealing with some very light isolated development around the Golden Triangle, moving its way east out of North Mississippi by the time we get towards that 11, 12 o'clock hour. And even some of those rainfall rates, I'm going to swap sides here real quick and populate in a few of these to just showcase that rainfall rate. I mean, we're talking about a ½ inch an hour, so these are not going to be anything that's worrisome for flooding. No, this is just going to be some of your light showers that develop on the back end of this frontal system. Even out here towards Tuscaloosa County, some of those cells that are within that front not having anything impressive, and that's why our rainfall rates were not ever high. But we did get some decent accumulations as we went about the day, and we'll look at that here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and look at that frontal boundary. And as that frontal boundary rests over the top of central Mississippi and northern Alabama, you can see how it has this gradual progression towards the east and takes all of that moisture with it. But we do have cloud cover building on the backside, and that's going to settle into our area by the time we get towards our Wednesday morning. Just can't escape the clouds, but luckily those clouds not going to have any precipitation attached to it, and we're going to be in a calmer pattern. So all those linemen or anyone that's trying to chop up those limbs, I think tomorrow is going to be a good looking forecast for you to do exactly that. 3 a.m. that system continues to move east up the east coast by the time we get towards our Wednesday afternoon, and that takes all of this moisture with it, and that does include some of the cloud cover. Unfortunately, with the little movement that it has for our Wednesday morning, it does keep that cloud cover in the forecast at least for an extended period of time for the start of our Wednesday. But as you can see, that movement does take it further out towards the east, and all these rain chances are going to be attached to it in Georgia, Florida, even southeast Alabama, but well away from us here in North Mississippi. So the only worry that we have is a few clouds in the sky, and that's never hurt anybody. So as we get into our Wednesday afternoon, those breaks do start to build into the area as this cloud cover is taken east with that system, and that's where we'll get a few breaks, allowing for some cooler temperatures as we get into our Thursday morning. So the next 34 degrees for the start of the day, but by the time we reach peak heating, we're in the low 40s. So not much movement as we go about the day temperature-wise, and that's going to be due to that cloud cover lingering into the forecast by the afternoon. But there's that slight break that we're seeing by 6 p.m. continuing into 9 p.m. And we do expect clear conditions to be in place on our Thursday. While that does seem like a benefit, unfortunately, it does have its downfalls, and we will, of course, be tracking that all in more detail coming up in the next 60 seconds. It's going to be discussing cooler temperatures, a little sneak preview, but also that drier air, how long it lingers around for. We're having all of those latest details live here from the Room to Room Weather Center for Mississippi Live Weather at 10 in the next 60 seconds.
Felt accomplished after I got my diploma. Made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I'm your retirement fear, but don't be scared. You're still in pre-tirement.
Does that mean I have more time to plan?
Precisely. This is pretirement.org.
This isn't scary. I'm doing it.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
Good evening, everybody in the chat. I hope you guys are having a fantastic evening. Love seeing all the energy late at night, especially on the calmer forecast that we're about to be experiencing. I know that's what several of you can be excited about in the chat, so let me know your thoughts and opinions on that. But I think you'd agree with me that this is a good-looking forecast. 54 degrees out there in Adenton right now. Oktibbeha County showcasing those cloudy skies. That's where their saturation is, but fortunately that's not reaching the ground, meaning no foggy forecast for folks out there close to Starkville. Clarksdale, 42 degrees. They were under that dense fog advisory earlier on, but as you can see, that fog is starting to reach a few breaks, and a big driver in that forecast, 15-mile-an-hour winds, that'll do it. That'll clear out that fog, and we're expecting that not just for folks in Clarksdale, but all the way across North Mississippi, hence why our concern for fog is not exactly high. Amory, Monroe County, basically no winds over the top of you guys right now, 52 degrees, but the more those winds pick up, the more that moisture will be driven out, at least here on the ground, but cloud cover is still in the forecast nonetheless, no matter where you're at. here in North Mississippi. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar tracking the last of those showers to our south and east in the Golden Triangle area, but even those showers non-impactful. Definitely not anything to worry about. If we look at any of the higher outputs, it's going to be around Sugarlock over there towards Aliceville, Alabama. That's going to be this band that's basically right here. You can see with those yellows showing up. That's going to be some higher outputs of rainfall, but no lightning. So this isn't going to be a stormy system. Definitely have no severe weather threats to worry about. And hey, the big positive, no winter weather threats to worry about, right? So this is a good forecast to kind of knock out some of those drought conditions that are still in North Mississippi. And with some of these rainfall totals that we're seeing, I mean, this is a great output of rainfall because it's not too much, pretty uniform across the board. And this is what can definitely make a dent on that drought. As I populate in a few of these totals, of course, you'll see that there are some similar values. But hey, some areas getting upwards of 3/4 of an inch all the way up to, I want to say we got up to an inch in at least a few locations. But again, spotty in that coverage. But nonetheless, this is a forecast that we needed and a forecast we will continue to enjoy as the last of those showers work their way on out. As we take a look at what's next, though, well, of course, it does involve temperatures because that was a cold front moving across North Mississippi. Already seeing that difference for parts of Hernando at 37 degrees. And we see Holly Springs having some of those lighter blues, meaning lower 30s already in the forecast. And Eupora sitting at 52. So that difference of about 10 to 15 degrees over a 40-mile stretch, that's going to be driving our forecast moving forward. That's the effects of the front. Despite the cloud cover, we are going to get that cooler air moving over the top of North Mississippi. And if we look at the grand scheme of things, we can definitely see that difference with 52 Starkville, 47 Tupelo, 37 Memphis, and then 30 in Springfield. While that does seem far-fetched, that is what we will be expecting getting into our midweek forecast, heading into our Wednesday night and Thursday morning. Temperatures even colder than what they have in Springfield right now. So winter not done yet. But luckily, we're not going to see that for an extended period of time. It's going to be a brief cool down before the major comeback moving forward. As we look at that day planner tonight, you can see that it is going to be 40 degrees by 11, falling off close to that freezing point by 7 a.m. That doesn't look too bad. Looks pretty mild, right? Looks right around our normal. Well, now let's transfer this over into wind chill. And following the same mode of that hour by hour, hourly forecast, you can see we are dropping significantly in those wind chill values. So those 33 degrees will feel like we'll feel in the mid 20s. And even by the lunchtime hour, as we warm up into the low 40s once again, those real feel values are going to be in the mid to upper 30s. So those winds, that's going to drive our forecast on top of the dip in the temperatures. So it's going to be that colder air, whether we like it or not, whether it's cloudy or sunny. So as we look at our future cast on our Wednesday night, you can see some breaks in that cloud cover, but the moisture continues to build as we get into the start of our Wednesday morning. Not impossible that we get a few of those foggy sites out there in northwest Alabama, but where those breezier conditions are in place, and that's primarily going to be in the Delta and working its way east of I-55. That's at 6 a.m. That's going to be a breezy forecast, meaning there's not moisture here at the surface. Cloud cover still aloft, and that's going to help our temperatures from being worse than what they actually are. We're 32 degrees New Albany, Red Bay, 35 Amory, Starkville, 36 Macon, and 33 Belzona, Greenwood, and Greenville. But if we look at those wind chill values, that's where the story really begins. 21 degrees Holly Springs for those actual real feel values, 25 Corinth, 27 Tupelo, 31 Columbus, and 29 Kosciuszko. You can definitely see that it's less breezy out here in northwest Alabama compared to what they're getting out west in the Delta, just because that's the progression of that front and the progression of that next system here to North Mississippi, allowing those breezier conditions to settle in. We do expect that to happen as we go about our Wednesday morning. You can see that cloud cover still in place, but those winds still gusting out of the north, and that means cold temperatures will still be in the forecast whether the clouds are there or not. Luckily, though, the clouds will not linger forever. As we get into our afternoon forecast, we do see a bit of a break there in the Delta and all the way up along the Mississippi River, starting gradually at first at 3 p.m. But as we get more into the 5, 6, and 7 o'clock hour, there's those breaks that are already taking place, and that's going to allow that real cold air, that real cold Arctic air to settle into North Mississippi and see that drop in the forecast. As we take a look at the high temperatures on your Wednesday, 43 degrees in Tupelo, 44 Grenada, Starkville, and 45 around Columbus. So this is warmer, but it's not warming up too much as the day goes on. And that blanket of cloud cover, the big reason why, and that'll be in our forecast throughout basically the entire duration of our Wednesday. But Wednesday night, things do start to change, and we see that cloud cover pushing out towards the east and leaving us with the clear sky getting into our Thursday morning. So that's where the dip in temperatures is going to be. A lot of this cloud cover that looks like it's settling into North Mississippi, going to be high-end cirrus clouds, not exactly blanketing the sky. They might do some effect of keeping that warmth around, but nonetheless, I'm not overly sold on this. And if any of this moisture does try to move into the forecast, I do expect some patchy fog to actually build into North Mississippi as well. Let's just go ahead and expand things out and look at the exact movement of this. And you can see that frontal system extending well up the Atlantic coast. So here in North Mississippi, this is just some of that residual moisture that was wrapping around, and we're continuing to see that by 6 a.m. Thursday. Now with the fog, that'll mean some temperatures are better than others. So while teens are expected, we almost are rooting for the moisture because that prevents us from cooling off too much. But teens are definitely possible in Chickasaw, Calhoun, and Lafayette County. We also see 23 out there towards Clarksdale, 25 Cleveland, and 26 Greenville and Belzona. As we look at those wind chill values, you can definitely see where these take a big step back. So winds are going to play a part in our forecast on Thursday as well. 11 degrees actual feels like values in Prentiss County. So I know one Blue Devil that is not going to be thrilled with that forecast, and she's probably asleep right now, so I'll have to fill her in on what to expect getting into tomorrow morning as we're heading out the door. But if you look at the rest of the area, I mean, we're still upper teens, low 20s, so it doesn't exactly feel that great, and those winds will play a big factor in our forecast. Now, as we go about the morning, that fog and that cloud cover does break up, and we will see that continue to clear on out by the time we get towards those lunchtime hours. And that'll allow for that sunshine to settle in a bit more. You can see that break already happening by lunchtime. By the time we get towards that early to mid-afternoon, those clouds become real thin. That sunshine moves into the area, but unfortunately does not warm us up, at least not for Thursday. So we are continuing to see those below average temperatures in our forecast, and Thursday staying on the cooler side of things for sure. But luckily, once we wrap up Thursday and we wrap up these below average high temperatures, we are going to get better into Friday. We'll look at that here in just a moment. 45 degrees New Albany on your Thursday afternoon. Same thing Amory and Columbus. 43 Hamilton, Alabama. 45 Greenwood, Grenada, and Water Valley. 46 Clarksdale and Tunica. And 44 South Haven and Holly Springs. Now this weekend, this is where things start to shift. 54 degrees, high temperatures on your Saturday. 63 on Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday, we already won our matchup here in North Mississippi, letting that warmer air return, and it is going to be a great forecast as we head into that weekend time frame. It all starts Friday, to be honest, with low 60s in the forecast, so we're going to enjoy that for sure. But those low 60s continue into Sunday, they continue into Monday, they continue into Tuesday, and so do those dry conditions. There might be a patchy shower here or there for the start of next week, but hey, that's in the distance, and that could very well change. We're just happy to see a 60 in the forecast. Nevertheless, 4 of them on the 7 day. So definitely have some things to look forward to, and we are pumped about it here in North Mississippi. And if any of these mild temperatures or rainy conditions didn't clear out the snow and ice, we do expect that to clear on out by the time we get into the end of this week and the start of your weekend. So yes, there is light at the end of the tunnel. We are excited. So as I look in the chat, I'm trying to see if I'm missing anything. All right, I do see that folks are talking about everyone is doing better. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, just thank you guys for joining us tonight. I do hope that you guys stay safe, stay dry if you are in the path of any of these remaining showers. And as we get into the forecast for our Wednesday, remember, it's going to feel pretty uniform across the board, but no rainfall is in the forecast. But bitter cold temperatures move into the forecast on our Thursday morning, so keep those layers around. You will definitely need it. And while I say keep the layers around, keep that Mississippi Live weather app around as well. iOS and Android, free and available to download today. You can also check out our website, msliveweather.com. All the latest details on that forecast can be found there as well. We thank you for supporting us here on Mississippi Live Weather, and we cannot be more grateful for what you guys have shown us. We're going to continue our coverage, speaking of, our coverage getting across North Mississippi and doing kind of previews of the recovery efforts. Our Chief Meteorologist, Matt Laupon, he will be out in the community tomorrow. Destination hasn't been decided just yet, but I know that there are a few options bouncing around. So we'll get that ironed out by the time we get towards tomorrow morning. We're also, our game of the week, headed over to West Lowndes. So going to be a great matchup between Ingmar and West Lowndes. So if you are around the area, come join us Friday night. Our Ethan Foster going to be shooting those highlights. And I believe Matt's going to be down there to kind of preview this matchup and let us know a little bit about the forecast down there as well. So exciting times here at Mississippi Live Weather. Love getting into this portion of the week because it is going to be that home stretch. But we do have shows throughout that home stretch, and that is going to be at 6:30, 7, and 7:30 with meteorologist Maggie McCauley. And at 5, 6, and 10, I will be back with you guys along with our chief meteorologist, Matt Lobhon. So make sure to join us for all of those shows. We love having the company. But again, we just appreciate your support and could not be more grateful. You guys have a great night, a wonderful Wednesday ahead, and we'll see you back here in the Room to Room Weather Center very soon.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.